Before I get started with this, allow me to shout out OddRocker1 for sending me this particular story right here. Now, if y'all don't know or remember who this kid is in this picture, this is Nick Sandman. If you don't remember, he was the main student that was staring down or staring face to face with that Native American man at one of those rallies that they had. I believe it was earlier this year or maybe late last year. I forget exactly when the actual time frame was. And he had a lot of outpouring support because everybody just claimed that he was this victim, that he needed support and all types of stuff. I saw right through that entire act, and many of my other subscribers did as well. And basically what happened was he tried to claim, or his lawyers tried to claim, that he was being bullied because he was white and all types of stuff. I said, we are living in the age where white people are literally trying to hang on to a plight that was started by black people for the sole purpose of black people not getting equal rights or being very unfairly treated in this establishment by people that look like this kid right here. Now, if you remember, he went to that Catholic school. I think it was called Covington Catholic School, and I believe it was in Kentucky, one of those redneck states. But he was the one that was wearing that MAGA hat, and he was staring at that Native American man while that Native American man was talking to him. That grin, that smirkish little pompous grin on his face. But anyway, the reason why I'm doing this video today, because I just had to bring you up to speed, is because he and his attorneys took some kind of a lawsuit out in the sum of $250 million, in which he was trying to sue the Washington Post for basically putting these articles up about him, basically trying to say, I guess, the defamation of character and everything like that. Well, guess what is not going to be happening? The lawsuit will not be going forward because according to HuffPost, it says that the $250 million lawsuit against the Washington Post has been dismissed. He nor his ratchet redneck hillbilly Hicks family will be seeing a dime from the Washington Post. It says a federal judge dismissed the suit on behalf of student Nick Sandman after the Post wrote about his confrontation with a Native American activist earlier this year. It says the MAGA hat wearing teen captured in a viral video with Native American activist Nathan Phillips in January put out a lawsuit for $250 million, which was later dismissed, or recently dismissed, by the Washington Post, which means he's not going to get a thing. A student at Covington Catholic High School in Kentucky, Sandman was a part of a group of teens filmed surrounding Phillips while he performed an American Indian movement song on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial earlier this year. Now, they tried to make it seem like this guy, that Nathan Phillips guy, the Native American, was the one that was the person who was causing all the commotion. This one guy caused all these white teens to come and surround him, and he wants to be the daggone ringleader. In interviews following the incidents, Phillips claimed Sandman and the other students swarmed him as he was trying to prevent potential violence between the teens and a group identified as Hebrew Israelites. In the story titled "It Was Getting Ugly," Native American drummer speaks on his encounter with the MAGA hat wearing teens. Phillips told the Post that Sandman stood in his way as he looked for an exit route. "It was getting ugly and I was thinking, I've got to find myself an exit out of this situation and finish my song at the Lincoln Memorial." Sandman later disputed Phillips' account and claimed that he too had been trying to defuse a potentially volatile situation. In February, the student's lawyer Linwood and Todd McCurdy argued in a lawsuit that the Post wrongfully targeted and bullied Sandman because he was the white Catholic student wearing a red "Make America Great Again" souvenir hat. Now, you want to know what's so funny? Again, this is palm colored, throwing race into it before anyone else did. Now, I just did one about that Nancy Goodman chick. She did the same thing, but they love to claim that we are the ones that perpetuate race first, when it is usually always them, because they're trying to put themselves into a victim mode. They're literally trying to be the victim and the victimizer at the same time, and that's not how it works, although they would hope that that would work in their favor. It says, but in his ruling on Friday, U.S. District Judge William Bertelsmann wrote that the lawsuit's claims are not supported by the plain language in the article. The court accepts Sandman's statement that when he was standing motionless in the confrontation with Phillips, his intent was to calm the situation and not to impede or block anyone. The judge continued, however, Phillips did not see it that way. He concluded that he was being blocked and not allowed to retreat. He passed these conclusions on to the Post. They may have been erroneous, but they are opinion protected by the First Amendment. Many major news outlets, including HuffPost, covered the viral incident which occurred during the Indigenous Peoples March. Sandman's lawyers filed a separate suit against CNN in March for $275 million in damages over its coverage of the incident. Now look at that one. So he had a $250 million lawsuit filed against the Washington Post, which got dismissed. But then it said his lawyers filed a separate one against CNN for the same thing. If the Washington Post is going to dismiss this, you already know CNN going to do the same thing. I don't hope he doesn't expect to get anything out of them. Like, basically, they were fishing for money. He was looking to come up from this. This was a come up for him. I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to set this whole thing up and said, hey, let me go see if I can start something, turn myself into the victim, get people to feel bad for me, and then come up and become a millionaire off of this. Well, it looks like he's going to have to come up with a whole new scheme, because this one ain't it. This one did not work in his favor whatsoever, and that's exactly what he gets. His arrogance, much like many of his palm-colored ilk, all function on the same wavelength, do it the same way, and they all end up with and render the same results. No matter what the gender is, no matter what the age is. But I think it's even funnier when it happens when they're young, because it's like, they have more time in their life to screw up some more. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next one.